Hashtag Galactic Empire's first war with humans. And their biggest mistake. The stars look different from here. Alexander Clark stood at the main viewport of the Horizon Earth's first true interstellar ship. After 20 years in the space program and 3 years on this mission, he still felt wonder every time he looked outside. His weathered face, with lines around his eyes from years of squinting at distant horizons, softened as he watched the unfamiliar patterns of stars. "Commander, we're picking up something unusual," said Olivia Martinez from her station. The young communications officer adjusted her headset. "Energy readings unlike anything in our database." Clark walked over to her console, his movements precise despite the low gravity. "Location: near Alpha Centauri, sir. Not on the star itself, but in orbit around one of its planets." The bridge crew of the Horizon fell silent. Humans had been alone in the cosmos for so long that finding proof of other life, especially intelligent life, had become almost mythical. Clark pressed the ship-wide communication button. "All hands, this is Commander Clark. We have detected unusual energy signatures that may indicate intelligent activity. We are changing course to investigate. This is not a drill." For 3 days, the Horizon moved closer to the source of the energy readings. Dr. Helen Wright, the ship's science officer, barely slept as she analyzed the data. "These energy patterns are too regular, too perfect to be natural," she reported. "Someone built whatever is making them." On the 4th day, Olivia Martinez jumped from her seat. "Commander, I'm receiving a transmission. It's not in any Earth language." Before Clark could respond, the ship's sensors blared warnings. 5 sleek vessels appeared around the Horizon seemingly out of nowhere. They were beautiful in a strange way, like liquid metal formed into ships, with blue energy pulsing beneath their surfaces. "They must have some kind of cloaking technology," said Peter Kim, the pilot. "They were invisible until now." Clark maintained his calm, defensive posture, no aggressive moves. "Olivia, broadcast on all frequencies. We come in peace as explorers from Earth." The largest alien ship moved closer. A beam of light shot from it, scanning the Horizon from bow to stern. Minutes later, a voice came through the speakers, speaking perfect English. "Human vessel. You have entered territory claimed by the Xerian Empire. Your presence is noted. Your technology is primitive. Prepare to receive visitors." Clark looked at his senior officers. "Opinions. We're outgunned, outclassed, and they can apparently learn our language in minutes," said Security Chief Grace Johnson. "But they haven't fired on us yet." A small shuttle departed from the largest alien ship. Clark decided to meet these visitors in the Horizon's docking bay, accompanied by Johnson and Dr. Wright. The shuttle door opened, revealing 3 tall beings with translucent blue skin. Each had 4 eyes. 2 large ones where human eyes would be, and 2 smaller ones above them. Their fingers were long and had 1 extra joint. They moved with unnatural grace. The tallest alien stepped forward. "I am Admiral Vex All of the Xerian Empire, governing power of 63 species across 800 star systems." His mouth didn't match the words. Some kind of translator was working. "You are far from home, little humans." Clark stood straight. "Commander Alexander Clark of Earth. We are explorers." Vexthal made a sound like bubbling water. Perhaps laughter. "Explorers with a military vessel. Interesting. Your kind always has potential. We monitor developing worlds. Yours has been classified as a Class 4 civilization." "What does that mean?" asked Dr. Wright. "It means you have achieved basic space travel, but remain confined mostly to your home system. The lowest tier worthy of our attention." Vexed all gestured. "Commander Clark, would you join me aboard my vessel? It would be educational for you." During the next 6 hours aboard the alien flagship, Clark saw technologies that seemed like magic. Ships that could fold space, weapons that manipulated gravity, beings from dozens of worlds, all serving the Empire. "Your Earth will make a fine addition," Vexthal said as they walked through a garden filled with plants from different worlds. "You will contribute resources, of course, and some laborers. In return, you receive our protection and limited access to our knowledge." "And if Earth wishes to remain independent?" Clark asked. The Admiral's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Independence. What an amusing concept from a species that has barely left its cradle. "No world refuses the Empire's embrace, Commander. We will arrive at your planet within 1 Earth year to formalize your world status. You may return now to deliver this fortunate news." As Clark returned to the Horizon *, he knew humanity faced its greatest challenge. The Zaxxerians clearly saw humans as barely evolved primates, useful only for labor and resources. They had made their first mistake. The Horizon * returned to Earth orbit carrying news that would change human history forever. As Commander Clark's shuttle descended to the United Nations headquarters in New York, he watched the city skyline through the window. Would these buildings still stand in 1 year when the Zaxxerians arrived? In the large underground chamber of the United Earth Defense Council, 50 men and women representing Earth's nations waited in tense silence. Director Catherine Summers, a former military general with steel-gray hair and piercing eyes, called the meeting to order. "Commander Clark, please tell us everything," she said. For the next hour, Clark described the Zaxxerian Empire, their technology, and their intentions. He showed recordings from the ship. The room grew colder with each word. When he finished, the council room erupted in panicked voices. "We can't fight them. Should we surrender now and hope for mercy? Perhaps we could scatter to colony sites on Mars." Director Summers slammed her hand on the table. "Enough. Fear will not save us." She looked around the room. "Dr. Freeman, you've analyzed the scan data from the Horizon *. What can you tell us?" A thin man with wild gray hair and glasses stood up. Dr. Alan Freeman had been Earth's leading physicist for 20 years. "The Zaxxerians are advanced, yes, but they have weaknesses," he said, moving to a display screen. "Their bodies need specific gases to breathe, and their ships use a strange crystal for power that doesn't exist in our solar system." He showed detailed scans of the alien ships. Their design assumes attacks from weapons like their own. They've never faced our kind of thinking before. Colonel Jason Rodriguez, head of Earth's combined military forces, spoke next. "They expect us to be easy prey, to roll over like scared dogs." His dark eyes narrowed. "Our advantage is they've already underestimated us." Director Summers nodded. "We have 1 year. Not to prepare surrender terms, but to prepare for war." She turned to the council. "Every factory must be converted to build weapons and ships. Every scientist must work on defense. We will not go quietly." In the months that followed, Earth changed. Underground factories on the moon built new ships based on designs from Dr. Freeman's team. Military bases on Mars expanded into launching sites for Earth's growing fleet. Dr. Freeman made his biggest discovery 3 months after first contact. "Look at this," he told Director Summers, showing her a piece of metal. "When shaped in certain ways, our own minerals can disrupt their energy weapons." Meanwhile, Elizabeth Dawson, Earth's best diplomat, prepared for the arrival of the Zaxxerian delegation. A woman of calm intelligence and quick thinking, she had studied every word and gesture from Clark's recordings of the aliens. "We need to buy time," she told Summers. "Every day we can keep them talking is another day for our preparations." When the Zaxxerian diplomatic vessel arrived 6 months later, Earth presented a united front. No panic, no division, just quiet determination. Viceroy Cal Zerath, leading the delegation, seemed surprised by the humans' organized reception. Taller than Admiral Vexthal, and with skin that shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, he carried himself with obvious superiority. In the Grand Meeting Hall of Geneva, Elizabeth Dawson faced the Viceroy, across a large table. The terms of your world's integration are simple, Kalzareth said. 40% of Earth's resources will be redirected to Imperial needs. 1 million humans will be required as labor forces for our outer colonies. Your military forces will be disbanded. In return, you receive Imperial protection and limited technology sharing. Elizabeth's face revealed nothing of her disgust. These terms require careful consideration. Perhaps we could discuss alternatives that would benefit both our peoples. The Viceroy's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of surprise or annoyance. There are no alternatives. You are being offered standard terms for a Class 4 world. Even so, proper procedure must be followed, Elizabeth said calmly. We request 30 Earth days to prepare our response. What the Zaxxerians didn't know was that beneath the surface of the moon, the largest shipyard in human history was nearing completion. On Mars, Colonel Rodriguez trained pilots in simulators designed to replicate Zaxxerian ships. And deep under the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Freeman tested a weapon that could potentially disable an Imperial cruiser. The clock was ticking. Earth would not surrender. And the Empire had no idea what was coming. Aboard the Imperial diplomatic vessel orbiting Earth, Viceroy Kalzareth met with his advisors. The room hummed with the soft blue light typical of Zaxxerian technology. These humans are more organized than we expected, he said, his 4 eyes narrowing. Their diplomat Dawson speaks with unusual confidence for a representative of such a primitive world. They are still nothing compared to Imperial might, said Commander Tixalon, military advisor to the diplomatic mission. But I have observed something interesting. Their physical strength exceeds that of most Class 4 species. The Viceroy's skin shifted color slightly, a sign of interest. Explain. Their gravity is higher than most habitable worlds. They evolved as pursuit predators. Even without augmentation, a human soldier can carry more weight, endure more pain, and fight longer than most Imperial auxiliary troops. The commander displayed images of human military exercises, captured by hidden drones. They could make excellent frontline soldiers for pacification campaigns. Kalzareth tapped his long fingers against the table. Then perhaps this world deserves more attention than initially planned. He turned to his communication officer. Send a priority message to the High Command. Request additional assessment of human potential and increase surveillance. Unknown to the humans, tiny Imperial drones, no larger than insects, had been released across Earth, the Moon, and Mars. They transmitted data back to the Imperial ship about human activities, technology, and defensive preparations. Most interesting, Kalzareth said as he reviewed the reports. They are actually preparing to resist. Such foolishness, but also such potential. He prepared a detailed report for the Imperial High Command. Humans show unusual adaptability and aggression compared to other species at similar development stages. Recommendation: accelerate timeline for integration. Do not allow further independent technological development that might later require a more costly pacification effort. Back on Earth, Ryan Cooper leaned close to his computer screen in the underground headquarters of Earth's Intelligence Division. A man with a talent for seeing patterns others missed, he had been working for 72 hours straight, trying to break the Imperial communication codes. Director Summers, he called out as she passed his workspace. I think you need to see this. She looked over his shoulder at the partial translation on his screen. Are you certain this is accurate? About 80%, he said, rubbing his tired eyes. But the meaning is clear. They're not waiting a year. They're coming sooner, with more ships. Summers immediately called an emergency meeting with Dr. Freeman and Colonel Rodriguez. How soon can our first ships be ready? She asked. 4 weeks for the first squadron, Rodriguez replied. But they'll be barely tested. Dr. Freeman shook his head. The shield technology isn't ready. We need more time. Time is something we don't have, Summers said grimly. What about the stealth ship project? The Defiant Asterisk could be operational in 10 days, said Rodriguez. But it's a prototype, untested in real conditions. Summers looked at the global map on the wall. showing defensive preparation sites. "We need intelligence on their battle plans." "Commander Clark," she said, turning to the man who had been quietly listening, "I need you to lead a mission. Take the Defiant Asterisk as soon as it's ready. Your target is the nearest Imperial outpost that Cooper has identified." Clark nodded. "Who will be my crew?" "Handpick them. Small team, best of the best." In the shipyard, hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid, the Defiant Asterisk waited. Unlike the bulky human ships from before first contact, this vessel incorporated what humans had learned from scanning Imperial technology. It was smooth, dark, and designed to absorb rather than reflect sensor scans. Clark chose his team carefully. Heather Morris, the best pilot from the Mars training program; Ben Alvarez, weapons specialist; and Lisa Nakamura, who had helped Dr. Freeman reverse engineer Imperial technology. "Our mission is simple but extremely dangerous," Clark told them as they prepared the ship. "We need to infiltrate an Imperial outpost, gather intelligence on their battle plans, and return without being detected." "And if we are detected?" asked Alvarez. "Then we make sure the intelligence gets back to Earth, whatever the cost," Clark replied. "The fate of our world may depend on what we learn." As the Defiant Asterisk silently departed from the asteroid base, Clark looked out at the stars. The same stars he had once viewed with wonder now hid a deadly threat. But the Empire had made a critical mistake. They had given humans time to prepare, even if it wasn't as much as originally promised. And humans had always been good at making the most of limited time. The alarm sounded across every human settlement from Earth to Mars. 50 Imperial warships had appeared at the edge of the solar system, their massive forms distorting space as they exited faster than light travel. Inside Earth's command center, Director Summers watched the tactical display. "How many ships can we field?" she asked Colonel Rodriguez. 30 vessels ready for combat," he replied, "plus the fighter squadrons hidden on the Moon and Mars." Summers nodded grimly. "Deploy according to Plan Delta, and signal Commander Clark on the Defiant Asterisk to return immediately." The Defiant Asterisk had succeeded beyond expectations. Clark and his team had infiltrated an Imperial outpost near Alpha Centauri, copied crucial technical data, and even stolen part of an Imperial shield generator. But would they make it back in time? Admiral Greshvac stood on the command deck of the Imperial flagship Eternal Dominion Asterisk. A veteran of 12 pacification campaigns, he had crushed rebellions across the Empire. This mission to Earth was beneath his skills, but the High Command insisted on overwhelming force to make an example of these humans. "Prepare the standard greeting," he ordered. His communications officer transmitted the message to Earth. On screens across the planet, Admiral Greshvac's blue face appeared. "People of Earth, the Imperial Armada has arrived to complete your world's integration into the Zaxxerian Empire. Your pathetic attempts at building defenses have been noted. They will not save you. Surrender now, and your major cities will be spared. Resist, and we will turn them to ash before landing our troops. You have 1 Earth hour to respond." In the command center, Summers turned to her team. "They expect us to surrender instantly. Let's disappoint them." She opened a channel to all Earth forces. "Commence Operation Thunderbolt." As the Imperial ships moved into position around Earth, their sensors detected Earth's small fleet moving to intercept. Admiral Greshvac laughed, a bubbling sound that made his officers nervous. "They actually intend to fight. How amusing," he said. "Target their largest vessels first. Standard attack pattern." But as the Imperial ships prepared to fire, their sensors suddenly detected hundreds of small craft launching from hidden bases on the Moon and from asteroids that had appeared inactive. "Fighter craft approaching," reported an Imperial officer, surprise in his voice. "Many hundreds of them, small and fast." "Irrelevant," said Greshvac. "Their weapons cannot penetrate our shields." The human fighters swarmed toward the Imperial fleet. Leading Alpha Squadron, pilot Stephen Wright spoke to his team. "Remember your training. Target the cooling vents on their engine sections, just like Dr. Freeman showed us. Use the asteroid fields for cover. The Imperial ships fired energy weapons that could destroy small moons, but they were designed to hit large, slow targets. The human fighters, piloted by men and women trained on Earth's jet aircraft, moved with unpredictable patterns never seen in Imperial combat. Nicole Adams, flying Beta Squadron, dove her fighter directly toward an Imperial cruiser. Targeting solution locked, she said calmly as warning alarms blared in her cockpit. She fired specially designed missiles that aimed for the barely visible vents on the Imperial ship's engines. The missiles struck true. Instead of trying to penetrate the powerful shields directly, they overloaded the cooling systems. Cascading failures rippled through the Imperial vessel. "Impossible," shouted an Imperial officer as his screen showed multiple ships reporting critical systems failures. Meanwhile, the Defiant Asterisk had returned, approaching the Imperial flagship from its sensor blind spot. Commander Clark led a boarding team using the ship's airlocks to attach directly to the Imperial vessel. Engineer Lisa Morgan carried equipment designed to override Imperial systems. Inside the massive ship, they encountered Imperial guards. Captain Jack Russell, a former Marine with enhanced combat training, engaged them directly. The Zaxxerians, unused to physical combat, fell back before the human assault team. Clark's team fought their way to a control center. Lisa Morgan connected her devices to the Imperial systems, uploading a virus designed by Earth's best programmers. Across the battlefield, 12 Imperial ships suddenly lost power completely. Others found their weapon systems targeting fellow Imperial vessels. Admiral Greshback stared in disbelief as his tactical display showed Imperial ships falling one after another. "Retreat," he ordered finally. "Regroup at safe distance." The first battle for Earth ended with the Imperial fleet in disarray, 12 ships destroyed or captured, and the stunned admiral leading his remaining forces in retreat. Earth had bloodied the nose of the mighty Zaxxerian Empire, but everyone knew this was only the beginning. In the gleaming capital of the Zaxxerian Empire, a world of crystal spires and floating platforms, Emperor Exorcaliath the Eternal sat on his throne. For 3,000 years, he had ruled the empire, watching it grow from 20 systems to hundreds. Now his 4 eyes narrowed as Admiral Greshback knelt before him, skin pale with shame. "You lost 12 Imperial warships to primitives." The Emperor's voice was soft, but filled with danger. "Explain this failure." "Great Emperor," Greshback said, not daring to look up, "these humans fight unlike any species we have encountered. They use small, fast ships that our weapons cannot easily target. They identified weaknesses in our cooling systems. They even boarded my fleet's vessels." "Boarded?" The Emperor leaned forward. "With what technology?" "That is the strange part, Great One. They used almost primitive methods. Physical force. Their bodies are stronger than ours, and they seem to excel at close combat." The Emperor turned to his advisors. "Is this accurate?" Grand Scientist Neve Barr stepped forward. "It appears so, Emperor. Our initial studies of humans noted their physical capabilities but deemed them irrelevant in modern warfare. This assessment was incorrect." The Emperor's skin darkened, a sign of anger. "A Class 4 civilization has bloodied the Imperial fleet for the first time in 800 years. This cannot stand." He turned to a tall, scarred Zaxxerian standing silently at the side of the throne room. "Grand Admiral Zul Ventar, you will take command of this situation." Zul Ventar bowed deeply. The most feared military commander in the Empire, he had crushed rebellions on 50 worlds. "What are your orders, Emperor?" "Assemble a fleet 3 times larger than the first wave. These humans must learn the cost of defiance. Their major cities must burn. Make them an example for any world that might consider resistance." On Earth, crowds celebrated in the streets. The victory against the Imperial fleet had united humans like never before. But in the underground command center, Director Summers knew the truth. "They'll be back," she told her staff. and in greater numbers. We hurt their pride. Now they'll want to hurt us. Dr. Freeman and his team worked around the clock, studying the captured Imperial ship. In his cluttered laboratory, surrounded by alien technology, he made his breakthrough. The crystal they use for power, he explained to Summers, holding up a glowing blue stone. It's not just any mineral. It's arranged in a specific pattern at the atomic level. He placed it next to a similar-looking crystal. This one I made from Earth materials. When arranged in the right pattern, it can disrupt the energy flow of their weapons. Summers looked at the crystals. Can we mass-produce these? Already started. We're calling them disruptor missiles. They won't destroy Imperial ships directly, but they'll temporarily disable them. Maybe long enough for our boarding parties to capture more. Meanwhile, Colonel Rodriguez trained a specialized force in a hidden facility beneath the Mojave Desert. Men and women practiced fighting in zero gravity and studied the layout of Imperial ships from the data Clark's team had stolen. The Zaxxerians have poor close-quarters combat abilities, Rodriguez told his troops. They've relied on technology for so long they've forgotten how to fight with their bodies. We'll use that against them. Across the solar system, humans prepared. They converted asteroids into armed bases, creating a defense network that would force Imperial ships to navigate a gauntlet before reaching Earth. Mining operations on Mars doubled their output, providing materials for Earth's growing fleet. Commander Clark, now promoted to admiral, oversaw the integration of captured Imperial technology into human ships. The flagship of Earth's fleet, renamed the Vanguard Asterisk, was built around the captured Imperial vessel. We need to understand how they think, he told his officers. Their tactics are predictable because they've never needed to change them. They've been the strongest for so long, they don't know how to adapt. 3 months after the first battle, Earth's long-range sensors detected a massive energy signature at the edge of the solar system. The Imperial response had arrived. 150 warships, reported the sensor officer, 3 times the size of the First Fleet. Admiral Clark studied the tactical display. Just as we expected. Everyone to battle stations. This time, they won't underestimate us. But we have a few surprises they haven't seen yet. As the massive Imperial Armada approached, Grand Admiral Zolventer stood on his command deck, his scared face showing no emotion. These humans have never faced a proper Imperial response, he told his officers. We will burn their cities until they beg for mercy. No more games. No more diplomacy. Only submission or extinction. The solar system had become a fortress. Asteroid bases bristled with weapons. Minefields floated in carefully planned patterns. Earth's fleet, now reinforced with ships built using captured Imperial technology, waited in formation near Mars. Admiral Clark stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, watching the tactical display as the massive Imperial Armada approached. His ship, built around a captured Imperial vessel, represented humanity's greatest achievement, the successful merging of human ingenuity with alien technology. They've split into 3 attack groups, reported his tactical officer. Largest group heading straight for Earth. The others moving to flank our positions. Clark nodded. Just as we expected. Signal all ships and bases. Execute Battle Plan Omega. As the Imperial fleet advanced, Grand Admiral Zolventer watched the human defenses with cold calculation. Unlike Greshvac, he would not underestimate these primitives. Their asteroid bases are clever, he told his officers, but ultimately futile. Divide our forces to deal with these annoyances. The main fleet will proceed directly to Earth. The Imperial ships fired on the asteroid bases, their powerful weapons turning rock to molten slag. But many bases were decoys, filled with explosives that detonated when hit, damaging nearby Imperial vessels. Captain Laura Bennett led a squadron of fast attack ships from her position, hidden behind Mars' larger moon. Alpha Squadron, engage targets, she ordered. Remember your training. Hit and run. Her ships darted from cover, firing disruptor missiles at the Imperial supply vessels trailing behind the main fleet. Several Imperial ships lost power, drifting helplessly. Supply ships under attack. An Imperial officer reported to Zolventar. Escort vessels moving to intercept. The Grand Admiral frowned. They're attempting to draw our forces out of formation. Maintain course for Earth. But the human attacks continued from multiple directions. Major Daniel Powell's Marines boarded disabled Imperial vessels, fighting their way to control rooms and turning Imperial weapons against their former owners. The space around Mars became the central battleground when Dr. Freeman activated his greatest creation, a massive disruptor field that temporarily disabled dozens of Imperial ships caught within its range. Field generator functioning at full capacity, Freeman reported from his control center inside Olympus Mons on Mars. We have 30 minutes before it burns out. Admiral Clark seized the opportunity. All ships, concentrate fire on targets in sectors 4 through 7. Boarding parties, stand ready. The human fleet surged forward, targeting the now vulnerable Imperial vessels. Earth's ships, smaller but more maneuverable, swarmed the larger Imperial warships. Grand Admiral Zolventar watched in growing anger as his carefully planned formation fell apart. Never in his long career had he faced such resistance from a supposedly inferior enemy. "This ends now," he growled, his skin darkening with rage. "Bring the flagship forward. I will lead the final assault myself." The Imperial flagship, a massive vessel twice the size of any other ship in the fleet, moved toward the front lines. Its powerful weapons began firing at Earth's fleet, destroying several human vessels instantly. Admiral Clark recognized the opportunity and the danger. They've committed their flagship to the front. Signal all available ships. Focus on the Grand Admiral's vessel. The Vanguard led the charge, with Earth's remaining ships providing covering fire. Imperial defenses tore through the human fleet, but enough ships survived to launch their disruptor missiles at the flagship. Multiple explosions rippled across the Imperial vessel's surface as systems failed. The Vanguard moved alongside, attaching to the hull. Admiral Clark led the boarding party himself. "Engineering team with me," he ordered as they cut through the hull. "Security teams, secure our path to the bridge." Inside the Imperial flagship, chaos reigned as systems failed and human boarding parties fought their way through the corridors. Zolventar ordered his personal guard to the bridge. "We will not be defeated by primitives," he snarled. The battle reached its climax when Clark's team fought their way to the bridge. The Admiral faced Grand Admiral Zolventar directly. "Surrender your ship," Clark demanded. Zolventar drew a weapon. The Empire does not surrender to lesser beings. The two leaders fought as their forces battled throughout the ship. Despite his age, Zolventar was a fearsome opponent, but Clark had trained for this moment. Using his superior physical strength, he eventually overcame the Imperial commander. With their Grand Admiral defeated and nearly half their fleet destroyed or captured, the remaining Imperial forces retreated, jumping to faster-than-light speed and abandoning the solar system. Earth had won. News of the unprecedented defeat spread through the Zaxxerian Empire like wildfire. For the first time in thousands of years, Imperial forces had not just failed to conquer a world, but had been decisively beaten by a supposedly primitive species. In the Imperial capital, Emperor Exorcaliath faced a council in turmoil. If humans could defeat us, what about the Kral Confederacy? Or the Novan Alliance? Asked one council member. Our image of invincibility is shattered. The Emperor's 4 eyes blinked slowly. Then we must adapt. For too long, we have relied on superior technology alone. Already, several border systems had declared independence, seeing the Empire's weakness exposed by humans. The balance of power across the galaxy was shifting. On Earth, humanity found itself in possession of advanced technology and numerous captured Imperial vessels. Director Summers established the Terran Star Force, with a mandate to secure humanity's future among the stars. "We cannot simply wait for the Empire to return," she told the United Earth Council. "We must establish our presence beyond our solar system." Diplomatic envoy Elizabeth Dawson led a mission to several Empire-adjacent civilizations, forming the Free Systems Alliance as a counterbalance to imperial power. These species, long intimidated by the Empire, welcome humans' proven ability to stand against imperial forces. "Your victory has given hope to dozens of worlds," said the ambassador from the Tellarate Republic, a species that had lived under imperial threats for centuries. "We have technology to share if you have the courage to lead." Admiral Clark, recovering from his wounds, oversaw the construction of Earth's first true interstellar colony ships. Speaking to a graduating class of Star Force officers, he reflected on what they had learned. "The Empire made a critical mistake," he told them. "They judged us by their standards, by their history. They couldn't conceive that a younger species might think differently, fight differently. They saw our short history as weakness, never understanding that our adaptability is our greatest strength." 5 years after first contact, humanity had established colonies on 3 worlds beyond our solar system. Imperial border patrols gave human ships wide berth. The Imperial High Command had officially classified humans as a Class 1 exceptional threat, the highest danger rating in their ancient classification system. In the imperial capital, Emperor Exor-Kaliath studied reports of human expansion with growing concern. His advisors urged a massive campaign to crush humanity before they grew stronger, but the emperor had learned caution. "We awakened something we didn't understand," he told his inner council. "The greatest mistake in our history was believing that technological advancement alone determines a species' worth. The humans have taught us differently, and I fear the lesson has only begun." As Earth launched its 100th starship, humanity looked to the stars not with fear, but with determination. The species that the Empire once dismissed as barely civilized now stood as the greatest challenge to imperial power in 10,000 years, and the galactic balance of power would never be the same again.